one in the chat so I can just make sure y'all can hear me real clear. Is that Dr. Jewel on the line? Because somebody just started recording for me. I appreciate that. I don't know who that is, but thank you. All right, excellent. So we about to get here started. Thank y'all so much for jumping on. Let me send one reminder out real quick to let everybody know that the call is getting started. Make sure you have your pen and paper. It's really a training call today, you guys. I just want to make sure that, oh, thanks, Asha. I appreciate that. So I just want to make sure that everybody is clear. When I posted out on Facebook, I told people to post their questions. So I wrote down as many questions as I could. Some were repetitive. So I pulled the bulk of the questions to make sure I go over that and to make sure that you all are understanding the strategy and the process and things like that, so that when you do jump on with Dr. Kathy on a New York session or a London session, because during that time, she's pretty much just calling trades. She's just calling trades. So it's not a whole lot of training that's happening. And so I plan to, tag teaming and helping Dr. Kathy to get as much training out there as well. So, you can jump on the Breakfast Club Tuesday through Thursday, where Randy and I tag team, and Shantae Lewis will be coming on board really soon, where we trade with you guys, but we train and trade at the same time. But I also want to make sure that we do sessions where it's really geared towards training. So I may or may not throw any trades today. It's Sunday, the market's opening, let it do what it's going to do. So when we look, if I do see something out there, I'll give it to you guys. But my real purpose for today is to make sure that you're getting the strategy. And so whenever you're trading with any of us, you're doing your due diligence to actually, check what we're saying, because we're not always right. I mean, I am sometimes, but no, we're not always right. But sometimes it may be something you see like, yeah, I see that sell too, but it looked like it's going to pull back. So I'm just going to watch it first. And so we want to make sure that you're doing, your due diligence and you have an understanding of how to make that happen. So, yeah, this is recorded. It will be posted on my YouTube channel. My name is Camille Westmoreland, so you could just search me on YouTube. My goal is to have it posted tonight. After this call, it'll take a minute for it to process and things like that. So it should be up by tomorrow. All right, so with that being said, let me go ahead and share my screen. Well, actually, before I even share my screen, I'm going to go through some of the questions. Well, I might as well share my screen. I'm sorry, because some things I'm going to have to actually show you. Hey, Colleen. Yes, hair. All right, let me share my screen real quick. All right, here we go. Okay, so there's definitely a couple of things that I want to make sure that everybody is aware of. So one of the things I do, because some people did ask this question, how can I see multiple charts at one time? Or how can, if I click off to look at something else, then it goes away. The only real fix to that is to open multiple tabs, okay? So I just open, 5 or 6 tabs or whatever, so that I can see, to go back and forth. Because anytime you get a trade, it does not necessarily mean that that trade is gonna be ready to enter at that time. You wanna go back and be able to, continue to analyze it and things like that. And so the best way for you to kind of navigate and do that is just open up multiple web analyzer screens so that you can do that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with my questions, and then I'll answer those questions, and then we'll go into more of the training, look at some setups and, different things like that. So someone asked the question, as far as a sell signal or even a buy signal, when you get that alert and the cross has already happened, do you go ahead and take the trade? Now, to answer that question, it's a 2-part answer. It's yes and no. And the reason I say that is because if the red line is below the blue line, you are looking for sell opportunities. Doesn't mean sell right then. You're looking for sell opportunities. If the line is above, you're looking for buy opportunities. Y'all, I just made like $80 on gold, by the way. Thanks. Okay, so you're looking for buy opportunities. So when the web analyzer alert goes off, if you catch it as soon as it goes off, more than likely that cross has already happened. Please note, the cross is just the first indicator, okay? Yeah, you should be looking at the spreadsheet. You're not really looking at the screen. I'm just sharing my screen, okay? So you actually just, I lost my train of thought. So you're looking for opportunities. It does not necessarily mean that you're getting ready to get into that trade right at that moment, right? So the cross is letting you know that the direction has changed. That's really what the cross is doing. Whenever the IML web analyzer alerts, it is giving you an alert at support and resistance zones, okay? So based off of the analysis of the algorithms, it's saying at this point here, Euro AUD at 1.63044, this looks like an opportunity for a sale, okay? Now, if you've been studying or know anything about Forex, you know that whenever you're at a support and resistance zone, that means it can break that zone or bounce off of that zone. So the web analyzer is solely giving trade ideas or trade suggestions, okay? So it's only a suggestion. Your goal is to be able to do a quick analysis from the steps that Dr. Kathy has given and all of that to decide if I'm going to enter that trade now or if I'm going to watch that trade to actually enter that trade later, okay? And so just let me go ahead and say this too. The compounding chart and all that stuff, I'm going to pull it up on my training session, on my training PowerPoint. But if you want to text the word ECC 11 to 555-888, you can get all the stuff that you need for that. Okay, so when you get that alert, as I was saying, it's a trade suggestion to say, hey, you want to look at selling at this point, okay? Now, a couple of things can happen, and I'm going to show you that on the training call today. There are some instances where when you enter that trade, hey, Lawrence, it's recording. It should be. Let me just confirm. Yes, recording. So, when you, what am I about to say? Okay. So when you get that alert, it's just saying, hey, you want to look at an opportunity to sell. Now, some people go straight in on the sale and they actually profit. Now, some people may tend to experience drawdown first. So that's why you want to do a quick analysis, because just because the trade is called doesn't mean that it's actually ready. Now, there have been instances where I'll get an alert, or if I'm on live with Dr. Kathy, even though Dr. Kathy still gives me a trade, even though Marquita still gives me a trade, I still go back and look for myself to see, do I think so? And that's what we're wanting you to develop in. We want you to be able to say, I'm checking these steps and she said sell, but it looks like there's a pullback here. I'm gonna wait. So that's what the ultimate goal is. So that's to answer that first question. Someone said, I'm not comfortable not using a stop loss. If you're not comfortable not using a stop loss, use a stop loss. Now, I can't really tell you what your stop loss should be. I've gotten a lot of messages from people telling me that I use a stop loss, but I always get kicked out of the trade, and I always, let's say I always get kicked out of the trade, and then I see that the market goes directly where the web analyzer called, but I'm just not comfortable not using the stop loss. So you have to ask yourself a couple of questions. Number one, how much money are you willing to lose on a trade? What is that percentage that you're willing to risk? That's going to be your first question. So you may say, I don't ever want to risk more than 3% of my account. Or you may be more riskier and say, I don't ever want to risk more than 10% of my account. Only you know your level of risk tolerance. Now, I can give you this. Once you actually know what that is, and you can't do this for all pairs, but eventually you'll be able to do it in your head. but babypips.com has what's called a position size calculator, okay? So imagine if you said in your head, I always want to use a stop loss, but I never want to risk more than 3% of my account. And I know that if I do a 10 to 15 pip stop loss, I always get stopped out. But I want to protect myself, but I don't want to get kicked out so prematurely. So you have to ask yourself, let's just say you have a 500, let's just say to make it easy, $1,000 balance. And say I do not want to risk more than, I don't want to risk more than 3% of my account. So 3% of $1,000 account is $30, okay? And you may say, I want to do a 50 pip stop loss, okay? Whatever you decide, I'm just throwing numbers out there. And then it'll ask you what the currency pair is. So this only focuses really on the major currency pairs, but you know, it's pretty much across the board. Either way, the numbers will still be the same. So when you pick your pair, you just hit calculate. So it'll tell you, you want to risk only no more than $30. So your lot should be 0.06, okay? Focus here, 0.06, and then you want to set a 50 pip stop loss. So that means if this goes backwards 50 pips, the most you're going to lose is $30, okay? But most of the time, if you analyze right, it barely ever goes that far. So that's another way that you can protect yourself for the person that wants to use a stop loss, okay? You may say, I don't want to risk more than 1%, okay? Sorry. And you get on here and play with that. And you may still leave it at 50 pips. So it's telling you at 0.02, if this thing go down negative $50, 50 pips, you're going to only risk $10. So that's to help that person. When should you cut your losses? When you no longer feel comfortable in the trade. If you're looking at that trade and it's just like, man, I'd rather just take this L instead of losing my account, I can grow it back. Do that. I do that often. Well, not a lot because I don't really lose that much. But when I do, like if I get caught in some news or something like that, I normally wait on it to correct. But if it seems, because I only enter a certain number of trades at any given time, I may end up being in a trade for a long period of time, and I may just decide, even though I know it's going to go back, I'm like, I'll just cut my losses, look for another entry or something like that. So it's up to you to determine your risk tolerance and, you know, how long you want to stay in that. I only trade the 15-minute chart. Technically, let me say this. I use the 15-minute chart to get my alerts. I go to the 5-minute to help me confirm my entry, and I also use the 1-minute as well to help me confirm. So we'll kind of talk about that, and I'll show you what I'm actually looking at when we get those alerts. Someone asked the question, do you go 10 pips from your entry or 10 pips from your call price? Okay, I let them know that you go 10 pips from your entry technically. Now, I definitely encourage each person to go, you know, find an IML TV educator who talks a lot about support and resistance, okay? Because if you can recognize support and resistance and know it seems like every time price gets to this area, it plays around before it turns around or this or that, that can help you determine, you know, if you're gonna get potentially 10 pips out of there, and things like that. And so support and resistance is important to learn. There is a website, and this can help you too. Let me see if I can find it. Let me look over here real quick. So there's a website that you can go to, and it'll talk about the Forex pairs. And literally for those Forex pairs, for those who are still learning support and resistance, it will tell you the 3 support and 3 resistance zones for the major pairs. So if you have yet to, thank you. If you have yet to master support and resistance, you can literally go here. I'm looking up the site now, and it'll tell you what the support and resistance zones are. And you could just mark those areas so you know if you are getting in on a sale. It's telling you your first support zone is here. Calculate the number of pips to that support zone. It can tell you if you'll be able to get your 10 pips. If it's shorter than that, go shorter. And that's literally what I do, okay? And we'll look at that trade here really quickly. Let's see. Okay. I got multiple windows open. That's why it's clicking so many times. Okay, so the website is called, I gotta find the actual, let me find the exact, but it's economies.com. I want to be able to tell you where to go. Don't focus on the green line. Actually, with the particular strategy with the web analyzer, you don't have to really pay attention to the green line. Yeah, with that. I don't use it, honestly. I just kind of use support and resistance. I don't even look at currency strength either. I just really wait for an alert on the 15-minute, go to the 5. Yeah, I haven't changed my screen yet. 15-minute, go to the 5 and the 1 to determine my entry. Okay, so let's just jump over here real quick. We just got 2 alerts for AUD JPY and AUD USD. It is economies. There we go. It's economies.com. And if you click on Forex, you'll see the pairs. They do technical analysis, things like that. So that can help you when marking your charts to see areas. You don't really have to do a lot of marking, but I like to see like where the areas of support and resistance. So, but I can kind of recognize it with my eyes. You know what I'm saying? But as you get used to it, you'll start being able to clearly mark. Like, for example, let's pull up AUD USD real quick. Since this was just called. And so I'm gonna kind of talk you all through the process, and then I'll pull up my slides so you can take a couple screenshots of that, and we'll go from there. All right, so here we go. So this one was called at 68786. So the first thing you'll do is draw your horizontal line, and you will just 68786. All right, there. And then it was just called 2 minutes ago, so we'll click on the current candle to draw. So normally I immediately do this. This is the first thing I do as soon as I get a trade. I draw my crosshair, or whatever you want to call it, to see. So now remember, it's calling for a buy. It's above the cloud, so that's a sign of a strong buy. The red is above the blue. That's a sign. And remember, I'll go over all this. My next thing I do is go to the 5-minute. Now on the 5-minute chart, I can literally see that it's going up and it's above, but you see this red line below the blue. So the red line below the blue is letting me know there's some potential for pullback to get ready to happen. I really would want to see the red above the blue. Now remember, and I've said this on my trainings before, the lower time frames tend to direct the bigger time frame. So that's why I use the 1 minute. Okay. So when I look at the 1 minute, I see it's within the cloud. So what that's telling me is this, because this red is about to cross above the blue. I want to watch for this candle to break and close above the cloud. As I talked about before, there is what's called the Kumo breakout. And basically this cloud is also known as Kumo. So what happens is whenever a candle comes through the cloud and breaks, is an indicator of a strong move in that direction. So like how this candle just broke, I want to see it close above it. So when the next candle forms, now you see it's still within. So that's just letting me know to watch this trade. So even though this red has moved above, it's still within the cloud. And on the 5-minute, the red line is probably still below the blue. So you see how they all kind of go together to tell a story. So while I believe this trade is going to be a great buy, by doing those extra steps, you can limit the drawdown that you experience. If this makes sense, put a 2 in the chat so I know it makes sense. Put a 2 in the chat if it makes sense. Perfect. Okay. So this is a good trade to actually be looking at here, okay? And so what we'll do is just keep watching it. So what we want to see is this break out above here. When this breaks out above here, that is a good indicator to get ready to execute your buy, okay? So let's keep it moving. So somebody keep your eye on that. I'll click back to it. I'm gonna just go to another window so that we can actually look at AUD JPY for a buy. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. Okay. Hey, Miss Linda, shoot Robin a text. Robin, if you're on the phone, can you call Miss Linda right quick? Okay. So we got AUDJPY right here. And they're calling for a buy, and they just called us 5 minutes ago. So we right here. It's above the line, so we looking good. And, you know, I always still take your time to do this because sometimes it can all look great, but then when you put your lines and everything, it could be a little off. So 7.4.708. Okay. So you see that, and you see the red is above the blue, and it's above the cloud, so it's a strong indicator of a buy. On your 5 minute, whenever you see your red and blue line going sideways, that's a sign of potential consolidation. You want to be able to see a clear move in a direction. You don't want to see sideways. You want to see up or down, okay? And then let's look at the 1 minute. So when you look at the 1 minute, you can see that the red is above the blue. It's breaking through the cloud, which is a good indicator. Now, this red and blue is going sideways as well, which is telling me that some pullback / consolidation is potentially to be happening. So as I mentioned before, like, you don't want to trade when anything is in the cloud. You want your candlesticks, you want your red and blue line, all of that to be outside of the cloud. So what do you see happening right now? The red and blue line are in the cloud. They're kind of leaning sideways, and what's happening? Pullback. So that's why you want to, you know, take a look at that. And so this will also be a good trade for entry. We're just waiting on the full setup to complete. Now, the person that wants to go ahead and get in, you can. Just know that you're going to experience some pullback, you know, with that trade. And so that's one of my goals, is to make sure that, you know, you wait for all your confirmations. Don't be like overly anxious to execute a trade, but wait for those confirmations, you know, to actually happen, and, you know, kind of go from there. So you can kind of tell here that that red is starting to point up strong. We're pretty close to this blue coming out the cloud. Then I'll be looking for a stronger buy. And then these, once that breaks, this red should start pointing upwards as well, which is a good sign to get ready to execute that trade. Okay. So that's that. So let me jump over to my PowerPoint, and then I still got a few other questions, but I'll go over those later. So as far as your daily trading activities, I mention this every time we train. You want to take a look at the news every day. I don't use the RSI to confirm anything. It's actually just there. I barely even look at it. So you want to make sure you look at force factors. So I checked it today. There's no news until 12 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you want to make sure that you're not trading. Like, I recommend don't get any of these pairs. Like, if you get up and trade the New York session, I would avoid the euro specifically. I might even say avoid the Australian dollar. For some reason, I don't always get caught in Jesus' name in that Australian dollar. Don't trade the news. That's what I'm saying. Don't trade the news. So if you see that news is coming for a pair, if you get alerts from the web analyzer, do not trade the news. I'm going to get to the settings. Y'all just be patient. Every question is going to be answered. Just wait for the process, okay? All right. So you want to make sure that you do that. The next thing is make sure your web analyzer settings are correct, which are on the next screen. I definitely encourage you to set a goal. Use the growth chart. Remember, text ECC 11 to 555. Yes, it's above me now. Make sure that, can y'all not see my screen? Someone said they can't see the screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, cool. All right, you may need to refresh or something like that. I'm not sure why. All right, so, so somebody asks, what if the news is at 12, but you put in a trade between 7 and 10? You could put a trade in between 7 and 10, but there's no guarantee you're going to get out of that trade before noon. So for me, like, at the end of the day, you can kind of do, you know, what works for you, but I won't even trade euro until afternoon, till news is over, because anything can happen in the market that causes you to be stuck in that trade, okay? All right. So set a goal. If you have not set a financial goal, you want to make sure that you do that. Don't just be trading blindly. What are those goals? What are some of the things you're going to want to accomplish? What are some of those things that you need to happen in your life, and put a price to it? Okay. So for example, I have some major goals that I want to accomplish for myself and for my family, my mom, and stuff like that. So I have maybe a $3 million initial goal. And so I'm using these trading plans to help me actually get there. So you need to ask yourself what that is. It may be like, if you got kids and you want to put them in private school, you may want to use trading to be able to pay for their schooling for the next year or the next 5 years or whatever that is. You may want to build your parents a home debt free. You may want to pay for your house debt free. You may, whatever that thing is, you need an actual goal for that. So if you don't have that goal, I encourage you to create that and then get on this chart here. Then get on this chart here and set it up. Now, if you're starting your account with $1,000, I encourage you to set your balance at half of whatever you're starting with. Your percentage growth, totally up to you. Some people do per trade, some people do per day. So it's totally up to you. That's why I just put trade/day, because it's up to you. So for example, I do per trade. So if I get 6 trades in tomorrow, if this was my beginning chart, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I would literally follow this chart for my 10 pips every single trade. Okay. And so you determine that. If you're starting an account with $200, set it up at $100 or even $50. If you're starting with $5,000, set it up at $2,500. Okay. Whatever that looks like, set a goal so you can have clear direction on what you're doing. If you're international, do me a favor, send me an email, tradewithcamille@gmail.com, and I will send it to you, okay? It may take me a minute if a lot of you message me, but do know I will get it to you. And it's also in the team app if you're in the team app. Okay, so now let's talk about the settings really quick. You can't really see them there, so let me jump over to the web analyzer so I can actually show you how to actually do that. So give me 2 seconds. All right, so here we go. And checking, let me look at AUD USD real quick. I know we were looking for a buy, 5 minute. So you can see it's still sideways and down. And even if you look at the 1 minute, it's going down and it's now look like it may break into the cloud. So it may be some more pullback happening before it continues to go up. So that's why you want to keep watching, or keep checking. And then looking at AUD JPY, you can see it's pulling back now as well. And even on the 1 minute, it's heading into the cloud. So it's a couple of things that can happen. This cloud acts as support and resistance, okay? So what'll happen is it may come down here and go right back up, or it may come down here and break and keep going down. So that's why you want to, kind of watch. So those trades are not ready as of yet. So we're going to keep it moving. So just so you understand, and I'm going to pull this up so you can get your settings. Take a screenshot of this right here. Your conversion line and your baseline actually change colors. In your original settings, you're going to see blue and red. You want to change them to red and blue. Okay. And then let's see, get a screenshot of that. Now, on inputs, the factory settings, not really the word I was supposed to be using, but I can't think of the word I want to say, is normally 9, 26, 52, 26. You want to change them to 6, 13, 26, and 13. Now, before you save or hit OK, you want to hit this drop down menu. Thank you, default settings. And you want to put save as default. Okay. And when you hit save as default and hit OK, every time you log into your web analyzer and you make sure that you have Dr. Kathy's ECC 11 strategy selected, it will automatically pull the correct settings. Now, sometimes there may be situations where the cookies didn't save, it was, something like that. You want to make sure that you're at least checking to see, how everything's going. So as you can see from what I was saying, you see how it's heading down here, it's bouncing and checking, you know, so we would keep watching that. I would definitely want to see this break back above the cloud and the red cross above before I'm looking at actually entering that trade. So we just got another alert that came through. So let's go ahead and look at that real quick. We actually got 1, 2, 3 that just came through. So we'll start with Euro JPY actually. So to kind of talk you through the process, okay? As soon as, if you text ECC 11 to 555-888, the settings will come to your phone as well. Everything works the same for whether you're doing Forex, crypto, gold, commodities, indices. It's pretty much the same. I recommend though testing those out in your demo first, so you can kind of get familiar with how they move. When you change the colors, then you want the blue. No, when you change the colors, that makes the red above and below. So nothing changes with the strategy, but you have to change those settings that I gave you so that your strategy looks correct, so it doesn't throw you off. Okay, so Euro JPY. Yep, it's a cloud. So Euro JPY, it was just called 1 minute ago. So on the left-hand side, you're gonna draw your vertical line. And the reason you draw your vertical and horizontal line is because most trades are not always ready as soon as you get them. However, you may have to go back and check and see if it's something that's ready to be entered. So it's good to have your horizontal and vertical lines so that you can see where the trade was called and the price and what's actually happened, you know, over time, so you can see what's happening. So Euro JPY on the buy, the entry 121.884. Okay, so when you're looking for a buy, make note of this. When you're looking for a buy, you want the red line to be above the blue line, which it is. It does not matter technically if it is above or below the cloud, but if it is, if it's placed in conjunction to the cloud in the right direction, it's a stronger buy or a stronger sell, if that makes sense. So if you're looking for a buy, you want the red above the blue. And if the price is above the cloud, that's a strong indicator of an up, okay? If you're looking for a sell, you're looking for the red to be below the blue. If it's below the cloud, it's a strong indicator of a strong sell. So that's just something to look at. Yeah, I don't know what I just did. Hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, so then if you click your 5-minute chart, as you can see, the red and the blue are starting to come together. So you don't know if they're gonna kiss or break up, right? So this is an indicator for me to wait because I don't know what's happening right here. It's not a clear move to see, oh, it's still moving up. For all we know, it looks like this blue may cross over the red, which is a sign of a pullback actually getting ready to happen. And then when I look at my 1 minute, you see, as we talked about before, if those lines are sideways like that, that's a sign of consolidation. Also make note, and Dr. Kathy taught me this, anytime you see the cloud has a straight base or even a straight top, that's a sign of a pullback. So it acts as a magnet to price. So price has potential to pull back at least to this point before it continues to go up. So once again, this is another trade for you to actually be taking a look at, but in my opinion, it's not actually ready to be executed, okay? As I mentioned, I use the 5 minutes to get my alert. The 15 minutes to get my alert. I go to the 5 minutes to help me determine when to enter, but I also look at the 1 minute so I can see the real story of how that 5 minute is moving, okay? Let's see. All right, so then we got USD JPY. Somebody please keep your eye on those other trades for me. I'll go back and check them too, but just keep your eyes on them. So USD JPY was called 4 minutes ago, so we'll be able to just put our vertical line on the current candle. The called at price is 108.635. So you'll just draw that. Okay. So this is where the price was called, where the two intersect. Okay. Now, I lost my train of thought. Okay. So now you go down to so we're looking for a buy. It's above the cloud, good sign. Red is above the blue, it's a good sign. You go to your 5 minute. The red is above the blue, which is a good sign. But what do you see? Moving sideways. Sideways, sign of consolidation. Okay? So you want to wait. Then if you look at your 1 minute, you see what? The red is below the blue. Sign of pullback. So that's what you're seeing. So this is what you want to wait on. Okay? This is what you want to wait on. So like, for example, this bullish candle just formed. The red line looks like it's about to cross over. Some people didn't notice this. I just learned this last week at boot camp, that right under here is telling you how many seconds or minutes you have left on that candle. And so that's every time frame. So most of the time when I'm looking to execute trades, I execute at a new candle. So like when I was talking about the price breaking through the cloud, I want to see that candle close and actually open back up. Okay. So USD/JPY is a potential buy. And this looks like a big candle, but I promise you it's only probably like 1 pip. Because the smaller time frame you're on, the smaller the moves are, even with bigger candles. Okay. So let's see. Let's look at that 1 minute. So, okay, so look, the angle is starting to head up. So a person that wants to get in this trade, and let me check one more thing. I got 2 screens up. That's why I'm over here. A person who wants to enter that trade could technically go ahead and get in if you want to get in on that particular trade, if you choose to get into the trade. Okay, this is just a trade suggestion. Okay, all right, so that's USD/JPY. So now let's jump over to NZD/JPY. Okay, now NZD/JPY, we're looking for a buy as well. All right, so a couple of things. You can go ahead and see that the red is above the blue even before you mark anything, and you can see that it's above the cloud, which is a good thing or whatever. So you'll draw your line, and then your horizontal, mark your price, call that point, which was 70.635. Okay, so where these two intersect is where you can actually see what's happening. So then you go to your lower time frame. You can see that the red is above the blue on there. When you go to your 1 minute, you can see that that's happening. So for this particular trade, let me scroll over. Okay, I see AUD/JPY is in profit. Good job. All right. We're looking at NZD/JPY. And so with this particular trade, this looks like a great buying opportunity as well. So those who are interested in entering this trade, it's kind of playing with you. If you look at it, it's sideways, but then it points upwards. So it may be a little bit of inconsistency there. But from what I can look at and see, it is definitely heading up in a bullish pattern. So yeah, trade suggestion, trade idea. If you wanted to enter NZD/JPY, you can go for your pips on that. Okay. Let's see. Let me go back to my questions. Okay, so somebody asked me the question, how do you know where to draw your vertical line if you catch the call later? It's a couple of ways you can do it. Some people will, okay, let me just give you an example. Let me pull up another chart real quick. UJ is in profit. Awesome, awesome. Let's go. UJ is in profit. All right, so So like this is an example. Let me see. So AUD USD, this is one of the first ones we looked at. So as you can see, for an example, why you want to wait. It's still just playing with your emotions right now. So it's better to, you know, just kind of wait to see those things line up. But anyway, I'm going to go to an older trade just so I can kind of show you what you do. So we're going to look at GBP AUD on a sale just to kind of show or answer the question. So if you look at GBP USD, GBP AUD, it came out 3 hours and 55 minutes ago. Now, some people, let me pause this so it won't refresh. So if you're trying to do back testing too and you don't want it to keep refreshing because you lose your spot, you could just hit this little square circle right here and it'll pause it so you don't get any updates. But you can still have another window open to get your updates if you still want to, you know, trade while you're doing some back testing. Okay, so GBP AUD. So it's telling you the call that price. So it's 1.83160. So you're still going to draw your horizontal line the same way you would have if it was just called 83160. Okay. And then it's telling you that it was called 3 hours and 55 minutes ago. Now, it's a couple of ways you can do it. Some people will just look at this UTC time right here, which is 21:45, and they will just take their vertical line. And if you look at the very bottom, you can see. So that was 21.45. So that was right here. Now, for me, I would have just probably said, okay, 3 hours and 55 minutes ago. This is a 15-minute candle, so that's 1, 2, 3, 1 hour, 1, 2, 3, 2 hours, 1, 2, 3, 3 hours, and so forth. And that's how I would have done it, and it would have still brought me to this place. So whichever way you want to do it, and that's what you do. So in this particular example, you can see GBP AUD was called for a sale. Okay, so when that sale was called, you saw the red below the blue, but they were so close you didn't really know what was happening. If you would have went back to the 5-minute chart, what do you see? A whole bunch of inconsistency and just jumble mixed in with the cloud. So that's a sign. Let me not get into this trade right now because it's just way too much happening, right? And then even if you look at the 1 minute, what does that look like? The same thing. Lots of inconsistency. Sorry. I don't know why that did that. But anyway, so you see all that inconsistency. But as you can see now, the and let me draw this back on here. The movement has just recently happened. What did I say? 21:45. Okay. So as you can see, the movement has just officially happened. Okay, so 83160. So even though it was called here, it probably took 45 minutes or so for it to come here, but you know, it's in profit now. It's moved maybe from the entry about 10 pips, or 12 pips actually. So somebody would have got their pips off of that if they waited. Now, if they would have got in as soon as it was called, let's just say it was called here, you would have went up probably like a negative 15 pips first before it came down. And if you got in right when it was called at this candle, you really wouldn't have gotten to your 10 pips yet. You would probably be, you probably would have, well, maybe. Let me move this out the way, hold on. Yeah, you would have got your 10 pips still as well. So yeah. All right, let me see. Looking at, do you only count 10 pips from the entry? 10 pips from your entry. I don't necessarily wait on the TK cross to sell. If the cross has already happened, I know that there are going to be more selling opportunities. So some people will wait. Like let's just say the cross, because most of the time when you do get the alert from the web analyzer, the cross has already happened. So that's why I go to the smaller time frames. Now I will look for crosses on the smaller time frame, but not the overall bigger time frame. As far as knowing if you could do more than 10 pips, that's going to be what I was talking about earlier, as far as like checking support, understanding support and resistance, and jumping on trading sessions with jumping on some of the training sessions where they teach about technical analysis and things like that, you'll be able to kind of see when you can go for more. But with this basic strategy, it's like you can get your 10 pips and get out. But for the person that wants to learn to get more than 10 pips or things like that, I encourage you to get on those IML TV sessions. If you are not getting notifications, can you search around for pairs looking at the TK cross the inner? You can on the web analyzer. You can literally just type in any pair that you want to actually trade. Like let's just say the USD Mexican. You can literally type everything in and look. So if you have that time in the day where you want to, you know, do that, or even what I recommend is once you get an alert from a web analyzer, it's gonna be more setups, if you will, on that pair. So you could literally stick with one pair that you get, and once you get in for your 10 pips, you may look for the pullback for it to continue to go and then jump back in again. So however you want to do that, but you could just, you know, type it in there. Okay, let's see. The settings work for all time frames. I just only trade, I only trade the 15. 10 pips from your entry. Hey, Kathy, I know Kathy on here. Hold on. Let me see something. I see Mr. Courtney Roby on here. He came down to the boot camp, taught us some stuff. Dr. Kathy, where you at? There she go. Dr. Kathy, I made you my co-host. So okay. You can unmute when you want to.
You're doing an excellent job, girl. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm catching pips. I'm just sitting here catching pips.
Okay, awesome. So, but yeah, you could cut me off wherever if you want to, you know, jump in and say something. I'm just trying to get these questions answered so everybody be ready for you tonight. You have your session at 2 and 4?
Yes, tonight at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. So as soon as you get up here, I'm going to bed.
Okay, Central Standard Time, 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 3 and 5 Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so just type in position size calculator for the pip calculations. It's just this ruler over here. That's how you can measure your pips. You click and drag for that. Yeah, you need to go back and watch the basic training too on how to calculate pips. You want to definitely make sure that you can use the tools here, but you also want to make sure that you know how to do it yourself as well. Okay. Let's see. Okay, cool. So that's that. Let me make sure I didn't leave anything off here. Okay. So if you want to take a screenshot of this kind of talks about the trading steps and things like that. I just sent Dr. Kathy actually a more extensive one of what I actually use. 10 pips from your entry. When you enter that trade, you calculate your 10 pips. Okay? 10 pips from your entry. When the web analyzer gives a entry, that is really just a zone. It's not saying you actually have to buy here, actually have to sell here. It's a zone. Okay? So once all of your steps line up and you execute that trade, whatever your entry is, you calculate your 10 pips from there. Okay. So as far as the setup, here's your checklist from Dr. Kathy on the left. These are some of my trading steps that I do on the right. However, you can tend to tweak these just a little bit. So basically, kind of step by step. Even if you check for optimal entry, you will have some pullback. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It just depends on how great that optimal entry is. Most of my trades lately wait in that way. I I tend to go fast. Like I have like waiting for 1, 5, and 15 to line up. Most of the time, I might not experience more than 1 to 2 pip pullback before it goes. So yeah. So basically, remember, if you are looking for a buy, you want to see the red line above the blue line. If you're looking for a sell, you want to see the red line below the blue line. If it has crossed on the 15-minute time frame, you can get into that trade for 10 pips. As recommended, check those lower time frames to make sure there's no pullback happening. For the best entries, if you can see the 1, 5, and 15 all lined up together, get in and you're more likely to go to profit a lot faster. If you are one that likes to trade the 5-minute chart, it's recommended by Dr. Kathy that you only go for 3 to 5 pips on that. You could trade anytime you see the red line crossing the blue line. So that's an answer for, I think it was Mr. John who asked the question about looking for other things whenever you don't see another trade or got another alert. If you've gotten into a trade and you got your 10 pips and you haven't got anything, you can still keep analyzing that same chart, you know, and looking at the smaller time frames, looking for crosses to actually get ready to, you know, enter on the buy or enter on the sell. Let me see. Okay. So if the red crosses the blue within the cloud, you may experience pullback or congestion or consolidation. Don't take the trade. So if you get a call from the web analyzer, the analyzer just calls support and resistance zones, as I mentioned. However, there may be certain times where everything is jumbled in the cloud. That is not the time to take the trade. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be a good trade, but you just want to wait for all the inconsistency to stop happening so that you can see some clear direction and some clear movement. Okay. All right, let's see. So basically, as we talked about, you want to wait for the cha-ching. You want to load the chart, draw your horizontal line at the call that price, and then you want to draw your vertical line, okay? And then, as I mentioned, you want to confirm where the red line is in conjunction to the blue line based on the buy or sell. So if you get a call that it is a buy, you want to see the red above the blue. If you get a call for the sell, it's the red below the blue. Dr. Kathy will be on imarketslive.tv. Just log in with your IML information and go to English, click on Web Analyzer and Dr. Kathy's picture, and you will have access. Okay, so as I mentioned before, if the line is in proper position based on the call, you then go to the lower time frame to confirm if the setup is identical to prepare for entry. So basically what that means is if you are looking for a sale and the red is below the blue on the 15, you want to go to the 5-minute and see if the red is below the blue. And that is a clear direction. If it's not, you want to wait. And then even if you want to go the extra step, check on the 1-minute time frame and see if the same thing is happening. So to answer someone's question, I think they asked, what did I mean when I said identical, all moving in the same direction, doing the exact same thing. Okay. All right, let's see. The way you know if a candle will be finished forming is if you look right here on the right-hand side of the chart, you see the line that tells you the current price and you see this clock. So it's 6 minutes at 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, whatever left on this candle before another candle actually forms. Let's see. When the red and blue kiss, is that a go for a buy or a sell? When they kiss, I don't want to do nothing till they break up. So kissing mean they together and they in love. But when they break up and kind of go their separate ways but in the same direction, then you want to be looking to actually execute that trade. Okay. Let's see. All right, thanks for answering those questions. Kip, I appreciate that. So, oh yeah, Mario. All right, so settings right here again. Take a screenshot. Snap now, screenshot. You hit the settings at the top next to Ichimoku. Screenshot that. All right, go ahead and screenshot that. All right, so those are your settings. And then a couple of people have asked this question as well. Thanks, Lawrence. I appreciate that. Hey, y'all, my sessions are so random because my life is random. So I'm sorry I can't give you an exact time of when I train. All right.
I really appreciate you hopping on and doing it.
Yes,
it's a big help by the time they get on IML TV with me so they can just make money.
Amen. I mean, I didn't mean to say amen, but amen.
You know you're a church girl. Go on, preacher.
All right, so yeah, so take a screenshot of that. And then inputs, take a screenshot of that. Absolutely, you guys are welcome. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so let me, I'm gonna remove my screen real quick because here's something else. Trade with Camille at gmail.com for those of you who are international and cannot text the number. And then I'll also post it in Dr. Kathy's group as well as on the team app where you can get access to the Telegram group, access to the compounding chart, and access to the instructions. Okay, so yeah. So alternately, like what I was just mentioning about the Telegram group, and let's just take these other trades real quick. So AUD JPY, we were looking at about, did we get into this trade? I think we did. It went up here. So somebody got their 10 pips. Okay. So you should have got your pips out of that one. And then Euro JPY, still kind of waiting on that one. NZD JPY. Okay, cool. Yeah, this will actually be posted on YouTube as well. Okay. Oh, awesome, Cheryl. Been practicing all weekend and haven't been wrong yet. So there's some consolidation happening on the NZD JPY. I don't trade crypto, so I'll probably never teach on it. So yeah, y'all never get crypto out of me. Okay. So, all right. So let's see. I was about to say something. Oh, okay. So for some people, in the group Telegram, there's a Telegram group where you can get the ECC 11 alerts. And so this is really good for the person that is on the go but still wants to trade. And so you can literally still trade ECC 11 from your phone. So I'm actually about to show you how I do that. So I'm going to share my phone screen to the computer. So if you have screen recording, you can screen record what I do actually. It's real simple. Okay. All right, so let me share my screen. Hold on. Share screen, iPhone. Okay, can y'all see my screen? Type a 1 or something, so I know. Perfect. All right, cool. All right, so what I basically did was I set my MetaTrader 4 up to look like the web analyzer to some extent, right? So what you do is, if you go to the F at the top, and this is pretty much the same for Android too. It might be a little different, but the process is basically similar. So if you hit the F, can y'all stop writing on my screen though? Oh, okay, hold on. Clear all drawings, disable. Okay. So, and I put the RSI on there too, just because it's on the web analyzer, but I really don't use it to look at it. So if you hit the F and you go to main window, the fourth option is Ichimoku Kinko Hayo, which is the cloud. And then when you click on it, you literally change these settings, and you can screenshot this for your phone, but it's literally the same as the web analyzer, okay? So you put 6, 13, 26, red, blue, green, and then your Kumo up is green, your Kumo down is red. So that's the cloud, okay? And then you would hit indicator window and you would go down and select relative strength index, which is RSI. And then it's here, and you set the same settings as the web analyzer, okay? So that's that. So now when you get an alert, if you're not in this group, text ECC 11 to 555-8 or send me the email. And Dr. Kathy has it posted as well. The screenshot y'all took earlier is literally the same, okay? Literally the same. So you can take those same screenshots and apply them to your chart. Okay. So when you get an alert, when you get, yeah, that's what you trade without the K. So when you get an alert, you literally just click on Analyzer. It pops up in your app. So if you get an alert that says there's a new trade, and then you just click on the free trade ideas like you would do as if you were on your computer. Come on. Okay. So then it tells me Euro JPY is a buy. So as soon as I see that, I immediately go to my chart and just look for Euro JPY, pull up the chart, and literally do the same thing you would do on the web analyzer. So it's telling you you're looking for a buy. This was called 11 minutes ago. So the first thing you're going to do is draw your horizontal line on the current position. Okay. Then it tells you that it was called at 121.912. So then you're going to draw your vertical line. And you set your properties. 121.912. Okay. So you can see, as remember, it's green, so it was calling a sell. Okay. So, I'm sorry, it was calling a buy. Okay. So you can see that the red is above the blue. It's above the cloud, a good sign. You go down to your 5 minute. You see the red and the blue are sideways, which is a sign of consolidation. And you see the price between the two lines. You never want to trade when the price is between the two lines. You want them above or below, but not in between, okay? So that's just letting me know to be watching this trade. And then what do you see? On the 1 minute, price is below the cloud. So what does that mean? The overall trend is up, but because this is below the cloud, that's a sign of a pullback. So this is another trade to be watching for execution, if you will. So this, I just wanted to show you, this is a way that you can literally do it from your phone while you're on the go as well. So to go back to the settings real quick, take a screenshot, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a screenshot, but it's literally the same as what you already took a screenshot of before, nothing different, okay? So you got the screenshots of that. Yes, my YouTube channel is Camille Westmoreland. Where's the offering bucket so you can put your offering? I got Cash App offering box, offering bucket. I'll just lay it. But so yeah, so that's what you can do so that you can still be trading on the go for the person that's not actually able to, you know, be on the computer, you know, like that or whatever. So. All right, so literally, y'all, that's all I got today. We've been on about an hour, which I think went really, really well. Dr. Kathy.
It did go very good. Very good. Y'all show Camille some love. She did that. She made it simple and easy, walked you through, plus you made some tips all at the same time.
Yeah.
Everybody wins on this team.
Absolutely, absolutely. You got anything else you want to say, Dr. Kathy, or anything?
No, you did everything that I would have done, and all I got to say is I see you at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Central Standard Time, and now y'all ready to just catch fits.
Absolutely.
So I see it, I call it, and you just get in and, you know, do your analysis, and let's make this fun.
Yeah. Oh, and then tomorrow, you guys, if you are anywhere near Huntsville, Alabama, I'll be there tomorrow, along with Marquita Thomas. A lot of you all don't know her. She's like a quiet storm, but she partnered.
Yeah, she's the pip prophet.
Absolutely. So she actually partnered with me and Dr. Kathy, and then Dr. Jewel was out there throwing some trades with us last week. And it was amazing. So we're going to be in Huntsville with Freddie and John McDougall tomorrow. So if you're anywhere nearby, we would definitely have you, love to have you. And we're actually in the process of planning some boot camps in Vegas, Virginia Beach, Dallas, and Raleigh, North Carolina. So just be on the lookout for that. Oh, Christopher, you're in Huntsville. Hit me up. I'll make sure you have the details. I actually posted it on my Facebook so you can get that information. So so we're working on some things because we definitely want to see everybody winning. So y'all go ahead and, Dallas. Y'all go ahead and get y'all some rest because I'm getting up with Dr. Kathy as well. So, because I'm ready to catch some old pips.
Yeah. And I'll be in Myrtle Beach on the 24th through the 26th.
Yes. Myrtle Beach, the 24th through the 26th. I believe that event has actually sold out.
Yeah,
so
it's sold out.
It's too late. But be on the lookout for our upcoming ones because you definitely want to be in the building. I want to say we had probably about 98% profit during that 2-day boot camp, which was off the chain. So anyway, it was fun kicking it with you guys. I'm about to go and chill out for a little bit so I can get up. Tomorrow in Huntsville is going to be an opportunity presentation followed by ECC 11 training and trading with me and me and Freddie and John and Keita and all of that good stuff. So we're going to catch some pips tomorrow night. So definitely would love to have you guys there. And I will talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good night. God bless.
Good night.